Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. Our special focus, of course, is on Delhi. Dengue spreading in the national capital has become a huge issue, and we'll be talking about that to a special guest as well. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hold talks with visiting Lankan Premier Wickremesinghe. Fishermen arrests and tackling terror figure in the agenda. India welcomes the UN General Assembly resolution on UN Security Council reforms. Resolution was passed amid protests from China, Russia and Pakistan. A day of dissent in the coalitions in Bihar. The LJP claims it's shocked by the NDA's seat-sharing pact, and RJG Chief Lalu Prasad indicates he will skip Rahul Gandhi's rally on Saturday. Delhi in the grip of a dengue scare. 5-year-old boy is the 10th victim of the mosquito-borne disease. The government holds meetings with private hospitals. And Europe tightens border controls as migrant influx hits a new record. Poorer countries block efforts to take in more refugees. The top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held extensive talks with visiting Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. The talks featured the fishermen issue, trade and defence ties. The two sides have agreed to cooperate in tackling militancy and work for maritime security and stability. Modi also stressed that the neighbours' development is a key to the stability in the region.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pitched for deeper economic ties and increased trade with Sri Lanka. He held talks with visiting Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on Tuesday. The talks figured the issue of a comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the two countries. The Lankan hoped that it will be finalized by next year. The two sides also agreed to fight militancy together and work for security and stability in their maritime waters. Modi said both countries are committed to deepen defence and security cooperation.
We will intensify cooperation in combating terrorism and work together for security and stability in our maritime neighbourhood. Sri Lanka is our largest partner in defence training program, and we will continue to expand our cooperation in this area.
Prime Minister Modi also raised the issue of frequent arrests of Indian fishermen by the Lankan Navy. Both sides agreed that fishermen associations should continue to hold talks.
Prime Minister and I also discussed the fishermen issue. We agreed that fishermen's associations on both sides should continue their efforts to find a solution. I conveyed to him that this should be seen as a humanitarian issue that affects livelihoods. I informed him of the steps we are taking to encourage Indian fishermen to take up deep sea fishing.
We've had the occasion of discussing the issue of fisheries in the Pork Strait and the need for the fishermen on both sides, who are also related, to have discussions and hopefully conclude it within a time-bound framework.
The two sides also signed 4 agreements to deepen cooperation in healthcare and space science. On Wednesday, Wickremesinghe will meet President Pranab Mukherjee before wrapping up his first visit to India. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed the resolution that the UN General Assembly adopted overnight for reforms to the Security Council. The resolution was passed amid protests from China, Russia and Pakistan. India now hopes that member nations will negotiate on the text on the table and finalize their stand on the expansion of the UN Security Council.
On the last day of the 69th session, the UN General Assembly adopted a text that sets the stage for negotiations on its reform. The adoption is a significant step towards beginning talks on the long-stalled reforms process in the 70th session of the Assembly, a first in 7 years of intergovernmental negotiations that have been conducted so far without the basis of any text. There were differences within the members on the matter. China, Russia and Pakistan had dismissed the move as unfair and not transparent. However, they failed to muster support to oppose the adoption of the text. Describing the passage of the resolution as historic and path-breaking, India's representative at the UN, Ashok Mukherjee, now hopes that the member nations will continue talks and clear their stand on the issue. However, former Under-Secretary General of the United Nations, Shashi Tharoor, says it is too early for India to celebrate. Though India's bid for UNSC has verbal support from the permanent members of the Security Council, none of them have given a written assurance.
The truth is that, yes, after 23 years of going around in circles on the issue, we finally actually have a text on the basis of which the diplomats can negotiate. And that is a very positive development. But there are still disagreements embodied in that text. There are still what they call square brackets, where different countries have taken different positions on the same issue. And therefore, though it is an important step forward and to be welcomed, we are no closer to a satisfactory outcome. We are not closer to an agreement.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been lobbying for India's permanent candidature in the UNSC in the run-up to UN's 70th anniversary. He has been garnering support from other countries during his foreign visits since his government took charge. However, it remains to be seen whether the initiative can finally earn India a place in the elite club of the world body. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now to the polls in Bihar, and the BJP seems to be running a tight ship as far as the NDA is concerned. After sulking over the NDA seat-sharing formula for the Bihar polls, the Ram Vilas Paswan-led LJP called a truce after back-to-back meetings with top BJP leaders. Ram Vilas Paswan, however, insisted that there could be no smoke without fire.
Barely hours after the announcement of a seat-sharing deal between NDA allies, voices of dissent erupted from the LJP camp. Paswan was said to be unhappy with the number of seats offered to his party. A series of meetings were held and a truce reached at. LJP now insists there was never any anger or discontent.
फैलाया जा रहा है कि मांझी जी का पासवान जी से जो है सीट को लेकर झगड़ा है, तो ये कद को लेकर कुछ नहीं है। हम लोग एक दोनों भाई हैं। हमारे साथ में एक छोटे भाई के रूप में जो है उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी हैं। बीजेपी सबसे बड़ा घटक दल है और हम सब लोग एक टीम के माध्यम से अब चुनाव के मैदान में चल पड़े हैं और 2/3 बहुमत से जीत करके और सरकार बनाएंगे।
The truce came after LJP leader and Ram Vilas Paswan's son Chirag Paswan met with BJP President Amit Shah late last night to iron out differences.
जो हमारी चिंताएं थी उसके समाधान के लिए, उसको सुनने के लिए कल भारतीय जनता पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष ने देर रात मुझे अपने निवास पर बुलाया। वहां पर जाके मैंने प्रमुखता से सारी बातें उनके सामने रखी और आश्वासन बस इस बात का मिला कि जो हमारी चिंताएं हैं उनको सम्मान दिया जाएगा और जब अध्यक्ष जी इस बात को बोल रहे हैं मैं उस बात पर यकीन करूंगा।
बिहार में एक नई सरकार बनानी है, एनडीए को जिताना है, पूरा एनडीए उस काम पे लग चुका है। बाकी जब सीट की बंटवारा होती है, सारा विषय तो थोड़ा थोड़ा एंगल रहता है, उसको तो आपसी बातचीत में सुलझाया जाता है। हमारे वहाँ एकजुट पूरा है।
The whole issue has given the opposition some ammunition to attack the alliance.
रामविलास पासवान जी का ताकत ज्यादा है। जीतन राम मांझी कौन जानता? जीतन राम मांझी जी ये भाजपा के लिए सर का घाव साबित होगा। जो उन्होंने अपना 2 दिन के तहत जो उन्होंने अपना करदानी दिखाया है, ऐसा लगता है कि वो किसी का बैन नहीं हो सकता जीतन राम मांझी।
Bihar is a crucial state for the BJP. A win here would not only be a confidence booster, but also a personal win of sorts for Narendra Modi, considering his equation with Nitish Kumar. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And meanwhile, the Janta Parivar is meeting in Patna today to decide on seats the allies will contest in the forthcoming assembly polls. The alliance had reached a seat-sharing deal earlier, while the ruling JDU and the RJD kept 100 seats for themselves. The Congress was given 40. However, it failed to convince the Samajwadi Party to stay in the alliance after offering a paltry 3 seats. The Samajwadi Party has now tied up with the NCP for the polls. And the RJD-JDU Congress Grand Alliance seems to be unraveling even before the first phase of polling in Bihar. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad has cited his busy schedule to not attend Rahul Gandhi's rally this Saturday. Lalu had also skipped an iftar dinner hosted by Congress President Sonia Gandhi in the national capital. At that time, it was said that Lalu was upset about the prominence being given to Nitish Kumar. The latest refusal comes at a time when the BJP-led NDA is attacking the Grand Alliance for what it calls its false portrayal of unity. Tejasvi Yadav, Lalu's son, will represent RJD the rally though.
अब तो जिलों में और एक एक विधानसभा क्षेत्रों में रैली होगी तो अब सब आदमी सब जगह रहना कोई जरूरी भी नहीं है और कोई संभव भी नहीं है।
जब गठबंधन है तो उसमें कोई एक दूसरे से अलग रहने का कहाँ सवाल है। कोई एक नेता जाना चाहिए जो प्रतिनिधित्व का ना सवाल है, उस पार्टी का माने मौजूद रहना उचित है। गठबंधन के सभी पार्टी के नेता थे।
Moving on now, Vice President Mohammad Habib Ansari began a two-nation tour to Cambodia and Laos today. He reached the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh this evening. He will hold talks with the leadership there to strengthen ties and shore up bilateral trade and investment. Trade, investment, tourism and cultural linkages are the other important agendas of his visit. His visit to Laos will be the first ever by an Indian Vice President. In a bid to strengthen India's Look East and Act East policy, Vice President stressed on the need to improve ties with these Asian countries.
जो सरकार की पॉलिसी लुक ईस्ट एक्ट ईस्ट उसमें ये आसियान का हिस्सा है और इसलिए इनके साथ संबंध बढ़ाना हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है।
Well, time for a very quick break right now. Coming up on the other side, our focus story for this evening: Delhi government after the worst dengue scare in the national capital in the last 5 years. We have an expert on the other side. Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
Dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Puneet Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV. Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. On to our focus story for this evening. The national capital, Delhi, reported the death of its 10th dengue patient so far this year. Amid rising public anger, private hospitals in Delhi were summoned for a meeting with the health minister this evening over hospitals allegedly refusing treatment for dengue.
Dengue claims another child's life in Delhi. 6-year-old Aman's family is blaming city hospitals for negligence. Almost a week after 5 hospitals turned away 7-year-old Avinash, causing his death, driving his parents to suicide. With 10 people dying of dengue, the government is ordering a magisterial probe.
मरते हुए लोगों को एडमिट नहीं किया और उनको वापस भेज दिया। उनको बख्शा नहीं जाएगा किसी भी हालत में। इसलिए सरकार एक कानून लाने की सोच रही है। अगले 1-2 दिन के अंदर हो सकता है विधानसभा का स्पेशल सत्र बुलाया जाए। एक ऐसा कानून लाया जाए कि ऐसे हॉस्पिटल्स के ऊपर पेनल्टी लगाई जा सके।
It is unfortunate. It should not happen. At least you take the patient, stabilize the patient, and then refer the patient to another hospital. I think then it becomes imperative on us to treat that patient. Even if there is no bed, we can keep that patient on a trolley, which also serves as a bed.
Amid mounting public anger, Health Minister Satyendra Jain summoned private hospitals and nursing homes in Delhi for a meeting. Latest data shows the city is battling the worst outbreak of the disease in the last 5 years. The last 1 week itself has seen 613 cases of dengue, taking the total number of such cases to 1,872 since January. Government hospitals have been told to increase their bed strength to meet the rush of patients. The Delhi government also asked the 3 municipal corporations to undertake door-to-door awareness campaigns, while medical staff have been told to cancel their leaves.
दिल्ली के सभी डॉक्टर्स की और नर्सेज की और जो पैरामेडिक्स हैं सबकी छुट्टियां कैंसिल कर दी गई हैं हमें लगता है कि अगले महीने तक जरूरत पड़ेगी उन लोगों की, सबको रिपोर्ट करने के लिए कहा गया है। साथ ही साथ हमारे डिजास्टर के जितने बेड हैं, जो मैंने 1000 बेड के लिए बोला था, उनको कहा गया है कि 1 हफ्ते तक पूरा करना है, तो डिजास्टर के बेड्स को भी डेंगू के लिए यूज किया जाएगा।
ऐसा पैनिक क्रिएट ना करें दिल्ली के अंदर कि डेंगू कोई महामारी के रूप में फैल गया है। डेंगू अंडर कंट्रोल्ड है, पहले से कुछ केसेस ज्यादा हैं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि डेंगू अंडर आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल है। कुछ केसेस ज्यादा हैं और नॉर्थ एमसीडी और सभी एमसीडियां मिलकर पूरी ताकत से, पूरे साधन के साथ उसका सामना कर रही है।
किस्म से बहुत ही तनाव की स्थिति है दिल्ली में। ये दिल्ली सरकार के द्वारा भी कहा जा रहा है कि किसी को एडमिट करने से मना नहीं किया जाएगा, फिर भी लोग मारे मारे घूम रहे हैं, एडमिशन नहीं हो रहा है।
Delhi's residents are scared. The death of the 2 little children due to the mosquito-borne disease has shaken the city as much as allegations of hospitals turning away dengue patients. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And we're joined by Dr. Puneet Mishra, Professor of Community Medicine at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. To help us understand, Dr. Mishra, I mean, in terms of the rumour mills, there's certainly a buzz in Delhi, given the fact that we witnessed the 10th death, and that also of a child. Of course, Delhi is shaken, but how serious is the situation, and are we equipped in terms of dealing with the spread of dengue?
Yes, in Delhi there are a huge number of cases which are coming with the dengue and dengue hemorrhagic fever. We are well equipped if you talk in terms of hospital facilities. Delhi government, they have designated more than 34 hospitals for dengue treatment, and there are many tertiary care hospitals in the city. They are well equipped. The institute which I belong to, AIMS, even we have made a provision for certain beds which are designated especially for the dengue, for the serious cases. The thing is, in dengue, most of the cases, they do not require any admission. There is a lot of panic, but the reality is around more than 90% cases, they do not require any admission, and it's just like any other viral fever.
All right. So in terms of prevention, I think that is what the public would need to know. And in case of symptoms, because there are a lot of messages that are going around across social media, etc., that outline symptoms, that if you're feeling fever, if you're feeling feverish for over a couple of days, etc., etc. So in that sense, what should one do if one thinks the one has contracted dengue, and how should one prevent in and around the house the mosquitoes especially?
It's a very important question you have asked about the prevention. Let me start with the symptoms. Like if in this season there's a fever for 2 to 7 days, there's a retroorbital pain, that is pain in the orbit behind the eye. There is severe body ache, muscular pain, pain in the abdomen, along with the fever, extreme weakness, or there are spots on the skin, or any signs of bleeding, bleeding from the gums, bleeding from the nose, or there's a blood in stool, there's vomiting. These are the danger signs, and person should contact doctor immediately. Now the question is prevention, because prevention is always better than cure. And truly speaking, we do not have any cure for the dengue. We do not have any medicine which cures the dengue. What we do is we provide the supportive treatment, symptomatic treatment. As we all know that dengue, it is caused by a mosquito, and this mosquito is day biter. Right, and this mosquito usually breeds inside the house or around the house. So we have to control the mosquito breeding places, like coolers. I mean, that is one of the place. The vases, wherever there is water collection and we are not changing water, those are the places where mosquito breeds. So we have to take the measures. We have to make the cleanliness in our house and around our house, because this mosquito usually flies for 100 meters. So if there's dengue mosquito, it will spread dengue in that particular area. It is responsibility of each and every person to make sure that there is no water collection inside the house or around the house. The broken bottles, tires, discarded utensils, and all those things, they have water, and even the small quantity of water, mosquito might breed there. If you have coolers, empty it at least once a week. If you cannot empty it, put kerosene oil or petrol into it. For other measures, there insecticidal spray that should be done in the houses to control the mosquitoes.
All right, Dr. Mishra, we'll leave it over there, but we'll thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand, as far as the spread of dengue is concerned, how serious the situation is and what can be done to prevent. Of course, remember, prevention is better than cure, so do ensure that there are no dengue mosquitoes, especially around your house. Now, on that note, we'll move on to other national news stories in Nationwide. The Supreme Court will not hear on the 21st of September the case relating to a special court quashing summons to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. The former Prime Minister's lawyer, Kapil Sibal, said more time was needed to send court papers to the parties involved. The 12 convicts in the 7/11 Mumbai blast case have pleaded for a minimum sentence. Their statements were recorded today. The quantum of sentence will be announced in a day or two. 7 coaches of the Andheri Churchgate local train derailed in Mumbai after an initial traffic halt. Services were immediately restored. The cause of the accident is not yet known. 4 youths suspected to have links with terror outfit Islamic State were detained in Kerala. They had arrived from Abu Dhabi early on Tuesday and were questioned by state intelligence officials. Now, protests erupted in hours after the MPs rejected calls to make it a Hindu nation. In fact, MPs voted for Nepal to remain a secular state. Now, as the country drafts a new constitution, India welcomed the gains made, but at the same time called for restraint.
Nepal hit by violence. Protesters took to the streets of Kathmandu as the Nepalese parliament voted against the country becoming a Hindu state. Waving flags and chanting slogans, they marched near the parliament, demanding restoration of monarchy and a Hindu nation status. Police fired tear gas and used water cannons to control protests.
शान्ति तरिकाले त्यसैगरी आज ओमकार भित्र मिलेर बसेका जो हाम्रा चाहिँ जो प्राणीहरू थिए नेपाली समाज थिए यिनलाई बिथोलियो त्यसनाले आज परदेशको चाहिँ जुन यो धर्म ल्याएर जात जातिको विभाजित गरियो हिजो यस्तो विभाजित नहुँदा मिलेर बसिया थियो हामी बहुदलीय प्रजातन्त्रलाई विश्वास गर्ने हौं.
Both India and the US called for restraint as Nepal's constitutional debate turned violent. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj urged for a dialogue among political parties to reach an amicable agreement. She also expressed India's commitment to further strengthen relations with Nepal and ensured all support and assistance. In the latest draft, the 3 largest political parties of Nepal have declared that the country will remain a federal state divided into 7 provinces. However, many oppose the draft constitution as they said that it would split their narrow homeland and merge pieces into larger provinces with other ethnic groups. For nearly 45 years, Nepal was a Hindu state until May 2006. Nepalese government says the final draft of the constitution will aim to maintain its secular character. The draft is expected to be finished within a week. It will be the first in Nepal's history to be written by elected representatives. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to the migrant crisis in Europe, and more European countries joined Germany in imposing stricter border controls as the migrant influx hit new records. The European Union meeting in Brussels failed to reach a unanimous agreement on relocating migrants across member countries. Poorer eastern countries blocked efforts by Germany and France to take in the refugees.
Who will shelter the 120,000 migrants in Europe? The European Union ministers failed to answer the question on Monday. Although in Brussels they agreed to relocate 40,000 refugees from Greece and Italy. Germany said it won't act as Europe's paymaster if member states shy away from their responsibilities.
La charge de l'accueil des réfugiés ne peut pas reposer simplement sur 5 pays de l'Union européenne qui accueillent à eux seuls 75% des demandeurs d'asile et des réfugiés.
What has come about, however, are more restrictions across the borders near Hungary, Serbia, Austria, Slovakia and Netherlands. Hungary declared a migrant emergency. It closed down its main crossing point from Serbia, while also sealing off a railway track used by tens of thousands of migrants to enter the European Union on foot.
They took us from the railway because we didn't want the train coming to block the European Union from people from Syria and other countries.
The Austrian police set up an airport-style queuing system at a new crossing point for refugees on the Austrian-Hungarian border. Dozens of migrants are spending the night in front of borders as the main point of entry was sealed off. Despite restrictions, the migrants continue to pour in, saying that they have no other options.
There are difficulties in our way, but we are trying. They said, we heard the news that they closed the borders or something like that, but we have no other choice. We have even to go on or to come back to our death.
We won't just open the border.
I hope to see my family in Germany because all of my family in there.
Europe is undecided on how to deal with the escalating crisis. The situation could continue till October when the 28-member bloc meets again for more talks. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now for some more international stories in Global Buzz. Malcolm Turnbull was sworn in as Australia's 29th Prime Minister after his party ousted Tony Abbott in a leadership challenge. Turnbull was the Communications Minister under Abbott. He is the fourth Prime Minister since 2013. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was announced winner of the UN Champions of the Earth Award for her country's initiatives to address climate change. UN Environment Programme said that with over 159 million people, Bangladesh is one of the world's most populated countries and the most vulnerable to climate change. Thousands of protesters called for the resignation of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe over his security legislation. The rally began in front of Parliament behind police barricades but soon spilled out onto the main street. Scuffles broke out in various locations before the barricades were taken down. North Korea's main nuclear facility, Yongbyon Complex, has resumed normal operations. State-run news agency KCNA said that the country was improving its nuclear weapons in quality and quantity. Yongbyon reactor was shut down in 2007. It has been the source of plutonium for North Korea's nuclear weapons program. And time now for all the sporting action in SportsBeat. The International Boxing Association has provisionally suspended Boxing India. Chairman of the AIBA Ad Hoc Committee, Kishan Narsi, has reiterated its stand after the derecognized national body scheduled its annual general meeting next month. The suspension meant that the national boxing body cannot hold internal elections or organize events. US Open champion Sania Mirza returned to Hyderabad on Tuesday to a rousing welcome. Hundreds of fans turned up at the airport to welcome Sania after she won her second Grand Slam title of the year, along with her Swiss partner Martina Hingis. Sania, who was recently awarded with the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, dedicated her title to the people of India. Manchester City will begin its Champions League campaign against two-time winners Juventus on Tuesday. This will be Manchester City's fifth season in the Champions League group stages. They've made it past the first round twice, but failed to progress into the last 16. Manchester United will open their Champions League campaign in the Netherlands on Tuesday against PSV Eindhoven. Last year, Manchester United reached the quarterfinals before being eliminated. PSV are playing in the group phase for the first time since the 2008-2009 season. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.